Okay, picture this for a second. You're a detective, and you're closing in on a suspect in a really high-profile murder case. But when you go to make the arrest, it's not some simple surrender. No. Instead, you find yourself surrounded by rival police units, there's a helicopter buzzing low overhead, and you get this sinking feeling that the real danger isn't coming from the criminal, but from within your own ranks.
And get this isn't some movie script. This is the reality, laid out in the absolutely explosive testimony of a police investigator who we only know as Witness A. His account points to this tangled web of high-level interference that seems to go all the way to the top of South Africa's law enforcement.
So, where do we even begin? Well, we're not starting at the beginning. We're jumping right into the thick of it. The arrest of a man whose capture seemed to set off all kinds of alarm bells in the highest corridors of power. The date is December 6, 2024. This is the day investigators move in to arrest a guy named Katiso Molefe. But let me tell you, this was not your average, everyday arrest. The whole atmosphere was reportedly volatile from the moment they hit the scene. I mean, the whole thing just descends into chaos, and fast. First off, Molefe is not alone. He's with a friend who is heavily armed with a rifle and 3 extra fully loaded magazines. Then, out of nowhere, this other elite police unit, the DPCI, we're talking about the Hawks, shows up demanding to know what's going on. And if that wasn't enough, a traffic police helicopter starts circling low overhead, basically turning the whole scene into a pressure cooker.
Okay, so the Hawks showing up, that's a huge deal. These guys are the top dogs, the elite unit for investigating the most serious crimes. And they weren't just passing by. They allegedly told Witness A's team they were sent there directly by their national head, General Libya, to figure out what was happening. This wasn't some casual inquiry. It felt like a high-level intervention.
So all of this chaos, right? It just makes you wonder, who is this guy, Katiso Molefe? Why would his arrest trigger such a massive high-level freakout? Well, to get that answer, we've got to rewind a few months and look at the insane pressure these investigators were already under.
You see, by this point, the investigation had already cost the lead detectives, Witness A and his partner, Witness B, pretty much everything. It had turned their entire lives completely upside down.
And things got serious fast. In September, it started with squad cars just showing up at their homes unannounced for 24/7 protection. By the end of October, they were formally brought into this secretive crime intelligence program. And then, boom, November 4th, they're pulled out of a meeting and told flat out, "You're not going home." Just like that, they were moved to a safe house. Their lives were no longer their own.
Witness A said it was like a ton of bricks just came crashing down on him. His life as he knew it was over. I mean, think about it. Suddenly, every single decision you make, every move, even something as normal as attending a family wedding, has to get a stamp of approval from your handlers.
Just let that sink in for a minute. For 3 solid months, right through the entire holiday season, Christmas, New Year's, he's in that safe house. He couldn't even tell his closest friends where he was. He was living this completely controlled life, all because he was doing his job on this one case.
All right, so let's jump back to that wild arrest scene. Because in the moments and days right after it happened, a few phone calls started coming in. And these calls, well, they started to connect the dots and show exactly why this case was drawing so much heat from the top.
Literally the very next day, Witness A gets a call from his own superior, and the message was blunt. The Deputy National Commissioner, a General Sibia, was not happy about Molefe's arrest. He was even questioning why the suspect was being held at a central police station instead of just a local one. And then, not long after that, another call. This one's from a trusted contact, and it comes with this really chilling, cryptic warning. The voice on the other end asks, "Were you aware that the person you've just arrested is the person of the generals?" Wow, the implication couldn't be clearer. This suspect was a protected man.
But it didn't stop there. 10 days go by, and then another high-ranking officer, General Shabiri, calls Witness A directly, personally. And this is the conversation that allegedly blows the whole thing wide open. So according to the testimony, General Shabiri just lays it all out. He allegedly says, look, this suspect Molefe, he's part of a dangerous syndicate. That syndicate is tied to a super influential figure they just call Z. Z, in turn, is good friends with a major politician. And guess who that politician is close to? Yep, General Samaria, the same Deputy National Commissioner who is so not happy about the arrest. You see the web? It's this perfect, protected circle.
So with all this insane pressure coming from the top, the stage is set for the final and maybe the most shocking part of this whole story. And this act doesn't play out on the street. It happens in the courtroom.
Now check this out. In the lower court, Molefe gets denied bail. No way. The magistrate points out that this is a Schedule 6 offense. We're talking premeditated murder, one of the most serious charges you can get. The court also considered his past conviction in the UK, which he hadn't disclosed, and the fact that he'd used a fake passport. But then, it goes to the High Court for an appeal, and in a move that stunned everyone, he's granted bail. He walks free.
So you're probably asking, how on earth does that happen? Well, witness A testified that his team had already heard whispers. They'd gotten intel from sources that Molefe's freedom was pretty much a done deal. They were told that 2.5 million rand was allegedly paid to corrupt the process and make sure he walked.
And you have to remember, witness A was in that courtroom, watching this all unfold. And to him, it just felt wrong. He testified that it seemed like the judge was practically helping the defense lawyers with their arguments, just blowing off the whole fake passport thing as if it were no big deal, and even questioning out loud why Molefe's freedom should be restricted at all. Just unbelievable.
So when you put it all together, Witness A's testimony paints this really terrifying picture of an investigation that's under siege, not from criminals on the street, but allegedly from the very highest levels of the police service. And it leaves all of us with one single, deeply unsettling question. When an investigation starts to reveal interference from within, who is left to police the police?